Hello to all my story lovers. Welcome back in Storytime channel. Now I'm concluding the Treasure Island. This is the last part of Treasure Island. Now the chapter number 21 in the enemy's camp. In the red glow of the torch, I knew all was lost. 6 pirates had taken over the stockade. I could only assume that my friends were killed. The parrot sat on Long John's shoulder. Well, he said, if it isn't young Jim Hawkins. Well, I was always keen on you joining us. It seems your friend don't want you anymore since you deserted them again. When he said that, I knew that my friends were alive. Your friends woke up to see the sheep gone and came to us to make terms. We took the stockade and they took leave. Well, I was one who ruined your mutiny. I killed Israel Hands and cut the sheep's cable and hide it where you will never find it. Go ahead, kill me. If you keep me alive, I will testify against you in court. I replied bravely. When the other pirates got upset, Long John told them off by saying that I was braver than any one of them. On this, one of the men came forward and asked if they could hold a council, but without a Long John Silver as a part of it. When he agreed, they went outside, leaving me alone with him. When he looked at me, his eyes held fear. They will turn against me, Jim. We must save each other. I know you have a sheep somewhere. Now you tell me, why would the doctor give me the map to the treasure before he left? I stood there with my mouth open in shock. When the mutineers returned, Long John looked friendly again. But the men entered slowly, looking desperate and mean, and Long John knew what was up. Give it to me already, he barked. And sure enough, they handed him the black spot. He read what was written, dispose, which meant that he was no longer captain. One man, George Murray, told him the charges. John said, how dare you accuse me and try to be captain over me? You do not know of our sticky situation. As for the boy, he is our hostage. How can I kill our only hostage? He could be our last chance. You would have made the same deal I have, part of which was the doctor coming every day to see your wounds. What's more, I have got something that will tell you why. He dropped the map on the floor. Seeing this, the pirates fell on it like dogs on a bone. When the men chanted, Captain Silver, George remained quiet. Long John looked at him. Well, it looks like you will have to wait for your turn. Jim and the Treasure Hand, chapter number 22. We woke up when the doctor arrived, and I was ashamed to even look at him. Long John Silver was bright and merry. Good morning, doctor. Come and see. Your patients are all doing well. While the doctor made his way up the hill, Long John added, and there is a little stranger who would like to meet you. The doctor stopped right there. Jim, he said. But of course, said Long John. Shocked as he was, the doctor decided to talk me after he was done with his patient. After attending their wounds, he asked to speak to me alone, to which men objected. Silence, roared Long John. He turned to the doctor. Now, sir, we are very grateful for your help. Hawkins, do you promise not to run away? I did. Long John then asked the doctor to take a walk down the hill and that he would walk me out. Once outside the door, his behavior changed completely. He looked at the doctor. Now, doctor, I have saved Jim's life and I am only here now to save mine. I hope you will help me. Aren't you afraid? Asked the doctor. Very, admitted John. I will be hanged for sure, but I hope that you will know what know that I did some good in saving Jim's life. With that, Long John left. The doctor scolded me until he heard my story. You have found the ship. You have been the one saving us all along. He encouraged me to break my word and come with me, but I didn't do so. Once back with Long John, the doctor told him it was best not to find the treasure. I have to, or else they will kill me themselves, replied Long John. The doctor said, then I warn you to beware of the high winds at sea. Those waves can kill. If we get out of this alive, I promise to do everything in my power to save you. Long John beamed and thanked the doctor. The doctor then shook my hand and left. Long John Silver then turned to me and said, if I have saved your life, you have saved mine. I saw how the doctor asked you to run. By not doing so, you save my life. I suggest we stick together for the hunt. We had our breakfast after that, where Long John's manner changed again. He became really loud and boastful. I was worried I would miss the reason behind my friend's doings. Why did they leave the fort and give up the map? What was the warning of the waves about? All these doubts filled my head when we left for the treasure hunt. Each of the pirates was armed with several weapons. Long John led the party with 2 rifles, pistols, and cutlass, and Captain Flint jabbering away. Along the way, the men looked at the chart and argued over which tall tree the mark might be. Each picked his favorite. We walked and turned left. Walking up a crest, jungle became dense. Just then, we heard one of the men cry out. We ran to him and saw him staring at the skeleton of man by a tree. The skeleton was laid out straight, which was odd. This is our pointer, said Long John. This is one of the Flint's jokes. Let's move. The men walked more closely and silently. The skeleton had made all their spirits drop. Now, the chapter number 23, The Fright and the Treasure. The men were exhausted and sat down at first chance. They began to talk about Pirate Flint. He was ugly and he had a violent temper. You should be glad he's dead then, said the Long John, and just then we all heard the voice call out, 15 men on dead man's chest, yo ho ho ho, and bottle of rum. It's Flint! He is back from the dead! Cried mutineers. Fetch me my sword, Darby! The voice called out again. Those were his last words, said one of the men there. The pirates stood rooted to the spot, each one crying out that they were afraid of ghosts. One man read from his Bible. Long John lashed out. That was an echo. Ghosts don't have echoes. That's the living being. This seemed to bring the men to their senses. Yes, that didn't sound like Flint. It sounded like Ben Gunn. Obviously, no one feared Ben Gunn. Even if they thought him dead, the men were back on track and focused on the climb ahead. Long John pulled me by the rope by which he had tied my hand. His mood had changed. I could see that the treasure was all he was focusing on. There was no mercy left in him. He would find the treasure and kill anyone who came in his way. Just then we entered a clearing and heard George cry out. We ran to him and saw before us a great hole. We could tell it was not flesh dug. Grass had grown on the cave insides. At the bottom were bits of packing crates from the Flint's ship, the walrus. But we all realized one thing: the loot had been found and the 700 pounds of treasure were gone. The men jump into the pit to find one single coin. They climb out and threw murderous glances towards Long John. George cried out, "This wooden leg fool got us here. Look at him. He knew all along there was no treasure." Long John spoke up, "Back to seeking the post of Captain George." They stood across us. We looked toward them, our pistols ready. "What are the odds? One cripple and one boy against 5 of us," said George. Just then shots rang out and 2 of the men were hit. George fell into the pit. The doctor, Gray, and Ben joined us with smoking pistols. We ran quickly through the woods to cut off those men escaping. We found out that they went the wrong way. Ben, in his year-long wanderings, had found the skeleton and the treasure. He had dug up the gold and moved it to his cave 2 months before we had come to the island. We made our way to the boats and paddled by the mouth of Ben's cave, where we saw Square waving to us. We also saw the Hispaniola floating offshore. We entered the cove and saw Captain Smollett lying beside a fire, and also great heaps of gold and treasure. I thought of the many who had died trying to find and claim it, never again to see. "Oh, Jim," asked the doctor. At last, this is the last chapter, chapter number 24. The next few days were spent taking the treasure to the Hispaniola. By every evening, a fortune had been stored abroad, and there was more fortune waiting to be stored the next day. We loaded Ben's cave with a good stock of food and supplies. As we were leaving, we passed the surviving mutineers. They begged us to take them along, but we decided not to do so. I felt extreme joy in leaving the treasure island. Long John took a small craft and sack of treasure and made off. We were relieved to see that he was gone. We heard no more of him. I believe he built a new life for himself and was still living with his parrot. When we eventually got home, we all went our separate ways, each with a share of the treasure. This is the end of the Treasure Island. Do you like it? Then comment it. Subscribe my channel. Bye bye.